when someone buys something or when they've made something, like a dinner or a cookie or something like that, I hate to be the first person to take the first piece, or even take the first bite out of something. I want the person who's offering it to have the first little lot. Like if you buy a present for someone, say you buy them a cheesecake and you give it to them and then they offer you the first piece, to me that just makes me cringe a little bit. So anyway, if you're one of those people who can easily take that first bite, I'd like to know what's going on in your brain and just see how it is, the different dynamics. And I think the different dynamics is about what this podcast is about. Trying to figure out where people are at in their heads and how is it that we can form some sort of uniform understanding of companionship, fellowship, and just an ability to be able to try to exist as one. That doesn't necessarily mean we all have to wear the same uniform or anything, but just how is it that we can negotiate each other's spaces and enjoy each other's company. So you can see I'm working from home, but that's not to say that we cannot get a bloody good episode cooking up. So yeah, I am working from home. Everyone's working from home because obviously we're in lockdown, but we're back to where it begun. This is where this podcast started, was in the same room last year, just over a year ago, but obviously I had a co-host at the time. But yeah, that's not going to stop us now. So let's get into it, gang.
And I know you're no good for me. Oh, but wildfires burn so easily. Yes, I know you're no good for me. Oh, but wildfires burn so easily.
And that is back with our girl Jenny Mitchell, and she has been a guest on this podcast already. And wildfires, they burn so easily, and that's just like the thoughts that have been going on in my head. It's like a bunch of things, your rumors that have started that kind of viciously go out of control, and I guess we tried to figure out how we can look after vicious cycles. So that's an episode that's been before, but I think the wildfires, and just using that analogy for everything that goes on in life, things spiral, things cascade, especially with the brain that I have, where things just go out of control so quickly. So what I wanted to talk about today is, we're working from home. Obviously, we're in another lockdown if you're here in New Zealand, Aotearoa, because we have the Delta variant. So the variant's Delta. So yeah, it's spreading like wildfire. And I didn't even mean to do that, but shout out Jenny Mitchell. It's spreading, and we're just trying to take the proper precautions to not have to, so that it doesn't get any worse. And we've seen what's happening overseas with some of the countries that are having to, lock down now. And we've already had one full lockdown, so we're a little bit more equipped, and we kind of know what to expect this time. So at first, we've been given 1 week. At first, we were given 3 days, but now it's been extended out to about 1 week. But I think just to help us control our, expectations, or help us control our mentality. So when it was kind of coming out that, there's going to be a news or a press conference about what's actually going to happen to the country, my heart was beating out of my chest, and I just had this really weird anxiety. And I think it's because, there was uncertainty, unsure what was going to happen. But then when the announcement was made, I felt reasonably calm, because I was like, oh, okay, cool. That's the outcome. We can live with that. And knowing that we are in lockdown and we're here now, we've been here before, we can just make things work. And so I'm going to go through a little bit of today about like how it's our opinions that are going to upset us. It's our mindsets that will upset us. Obviously, there are going to be actions, or there are going to be things that people do, or things that happen to you that are going to make you upset. But it's how we deal with that. That's kind of, that's the biggest thing, and that's what matters. And this is kind of just coming off a conversation that I had with my counsellor just yesterday. So I think, that's where I want to go with this. I'm going to call in with my siblings as well, because that's a really big thing that everyone's doing right now, is just making sure you're checking in with a whole bunch of people. But do be aware of their energy as well. Like, we don't want to fatigue people by checking in too much. And also, sometimes, just being on a screen too much is not really what you need. But I guess it's our opinions that will upset us the most. And I've talked about this quite a bit, but, there's that old ancient proverb where The first arrow was what hurts, that's the initial pain, bam. But the second arrow, that's the one that you choose. That's, you can get a second arrow, and that's the suffering that comes with it. So yes, the first one hurts, but the suffering, or the narrative that you tell yourself, and how you're going to react to it, and how you're going to kind of emotionally ride this whole thing, that's the part that you can choose, right? You can choose to suffer, or you can choose to kind of push through it. So everything that's happening, it's neither good nor bad. I think it's just the way it is. And I know that sounds really like privileged of me to say that, especially, I'm pretty comfy right now. I don't have children. I'm relatively sorted financially. I've got a home, I've got all that sort of stuff. But, for a lot of us who are in this position and able to be able to do this, work from home and do all those sorts of things, nothing is unfair. I think it is just how it is. And if we see, because if we see everything as unfair, we find things to blame, and we find things to pin the reason it's unfair on. So it's just kind of keeping us in that really angry and bad mood, because all of these different things are happening. And I hate to be that person who says you can only control what you can control, but that's the case in this situation. If you're always, why did that person, why did border control not do what they were supposed to do? Why were they letting people in from other countries when we knew that the Delta variant was out there? There's so many questions that people could be asking, but all that's doing is making you angry at all the decisions that have been made outside of you. For now, all you can do is role model really good behavior for the people who are in your bubble. Make sure you're wearing a mask, make sure you're going to get vaccinated, and make sure that you're not spreading any misinformation or spreading that anxiety or that anger towards other people, with other people, So, I don't know if you've seen, there's a video called Good, by Jocko Willink, and basically, he's a commander. He was a guy who he was in the war, and I don't know if he's pretty cool. Like, he's online all the time, and he's just a real hard ass, but he's such a nice guy, and he writes children's books as well. But he talks about, he has this video called Good, where they're like, hey, this guy just got blown up, or this area just got blown up, blah 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 blah, and he's like, good. Or hey, our Navy, our medical center just got moved off, we can't get there for the next 2 days, and it's just like, good. So what I kind of took from that, and the book, The Obstacle is the Way, is that it's how you react to things that kind of matters. So what's actually happening isn't the thing that matters. What matters is how you react to it. So like I said before, things happen. That's just the way it is. But it's neither unfair nor good nor bad, because it's kind of how you react to it, or how you perceive that thing that's coming in, that makes you feel like whether it's a good or bad thing. I remember someone saying, I saw it on a movie, or I saw it on a video, where someone was like, oh, you're so lucky that this happened, and he's just like, oh, we'll see, because he's not too sure of the outcome just yet, because it's unsure of how things are going to unfold in the future. So I guess with this, the things that people will say when we went into lockdown was, it is what it is. But I think the proper way to kind of go about thinking, if it is what it is, don't indulge in self-destructive behaviors. Just because we've gone into lockdown doesn't mean, you need to go and do all these bad things, because it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I think you need to, properly say it is what it is, but then think about how it is that you are situated within that situation, and how it is that you can have the best outcome from whatever that situation is. So yeah, we're obviously in lockdown, but obviously in level 3 and level 4, we can still go to the supermarket as long as you're wearing a mask. And speaking of masks, okay, what type of person are you? Are you the type of person that needs a law to be passed? Because I was going out with my mask. Someone said, oh, is it actually law that you need to wear a mask? Because you shouldn't, and I'm like, we're talking about team of 5 million here, and you're worried about what the bills and stuff are. That, is it law right now? If you can do something that's going to help with the overall situation, isn't that what you want to do? Don't you want to make sure that you can help as much as possible, whether it's law or not? Obviously, we're going to have a bunch of people who disagree with the facts and kind of say that they're scientists and all that sort of stuff going on. But if enough of us are doing the right things, isn't that what we should be doing, regardless of if it's law or not? I don't know, that's just me. I'm just trying to do everything that's being told of us so that we can make sure we manage this the best as possible. I'm not doing it for myself. Yes, sure, it's the smallest inconvenience to myself, but if we're thinking about looking after everyone else in this entire country, and then letting that cascade over to the world, isn't that a small but very, very significant action that you can take? Also, staying your ass home. So yeah, anyway, back to it. I got vaccinated today, got the first dose. I was going to get it quite a while ago, but everyone remembers I was sick quite a while ago, and when I was going in, they just told me to reschedule because I was young and didn't belong to any of the groups. They said, oh no, you should just come on September 1st when we open up that group. But then they've been kind of going really, really hard to try get everyone vaccinated as soon as possible. So I went down, and it was really cool. So I went to the Edgar Centre here in Dunedin. So if you are here in Dunedin, they're taking anyone this weekend, but check on their Instagram or check on their Facebook, so Te Kaika, down here, and it's really, really easy. I went down there, I didn't have an appointment booked or anything, I just went in, lined up in my car, stayed in my car the entire time. I was there for less than an hour. They checked in on me, made sure I was okay, and I'm just super appreciative of all the people who are part of the swabbing teams, part of the vaccination team, and just part of this whole wide spread, I guess, thing of trying to get this under control. So there's going to be a lot of people who just say, we should have done this earlier, we shoulda, coulda, woulda, while they sit at home eating fucking chicken wings. So, no, thank you so much to all those people, super appreciative. And if you are going to be in the line, although you're waiting and although it's a small inconvenience to you, remember all the other people who are part of this are super inconvenienced as well. So it's quite interesting. We have these bunch of people who talk about their integrity, talk about their value and all that sort of stuff. But the proper integrity will come with the actions that you take when it actually properly does come to the common good of everyone else, rather than just thinking, oh, I got put off by this, I was meant to travel, blah, 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 blah. Everyone else was affected as well. And we can't get back to that state until everyone starts following the rules. So that's just something to keep in mind. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check in with my siblings, and I hope this works. This is the first time that I've done this, but if it does, it's going to be something that I'm going to want to do quite a bit more often. So hopefully they're doing well. Just going to check in on them. This is how it could be for you in your family. I don't really talk to my siblings often, so I just want to make sure that they're doing okay. And let's hope that our internet looks after itself.
Yeah, Bob.
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good.
Nice.
I was going to put my headphones in.
Oh, yeah. No, you're all good. So this is my brother, Ma'ara. He's in Porirua at the moment. Here's my sister, Poitiare. Don't worry, you guys. It's just going to be your voices. So I'll go with Ma'ara first. How are you going, man?
Yeah, good. Yourself?
Yeah, man. We're just chilling here, just going through this podcasting stuff and trying to figure out working from home. Are you working or anything during this time, or?
Nah, not yet.
Nah. Okay, because so obviously everything's going to be dependent on what happens with the different levels and stuff, right? For your work and when you go back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you just been chilling at home then, eh?
Yeah, kicking back.
Yeah. Who's at home with you?
It's got me, Auntie and Nan.
Yeah, and how are they doing?
They're doing sweet as.
Yeah. And Nan's been all good. So so our Nan's like a grandmother for all you white folk or all you people who don't have Nans. So Ma'ara lives with our Nan and our auntie. Is she all like fully vaccinated and she's doing all well?
Yeah, she's fully vaccinated. She's doing sweet as.
Yeah. And then like
she's strong.
She's very strong. She's very strong. So what do you guys got planned then? If you're gonna, if you can't work from home, and I'm guessing Auntie can't work and Nan can't go to playgroup now. So what are you guys gonna do to fill your time?
Well, we've already done a bit of maintenance around the house.
Yeah.
Spent the last couple of days painting
the
rooms and all that. And nothing really. I think just make the most of kicking back for now.
Yeah.
Until
just relax, eh? Just make the most of relaxing.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's not too long, because there's only so much relaxing you can do before you're like, oh, I don't want to go back to work.
Yeah.
Nice.
So making the most of the downtime that I got.
Good man.
Not for the best cause, but yeah.
Nice. And you're just staying your ass home?
Yeah, of course. Unless we have to do the supermarket run and all that. But other than that, no.
Cool. Nice, man. And then down to Shanna.
Hello.
What's going on? Where are you?
I'm in Masterton at the moment. Yeah.
Why did you choose to lock down there instead of going back to Ellie?
So I came here because I'm on my break for uni, so I actually came here for my break. And once I had found out that lockdown had happened, I had the last train to go back to Wellington, so I just sort of accepted that I would just stay here.
Yeah. Nice. Well, it's going all good though, because you obviously, if you're on uni break, you don't have to worry about any classes or anything. Are you getting some study done or anything?
I've just been doing reading. Before, because not next week, but the following week we go back to uni, and I'm just sort of hoping that I can actually go back.
Yeah.
And
yeah. How are you feeling? For both of you, how are you feeling like this one compared to the last lockdown? So it's been over a year since we've been in lockdown. Do you feel like you're a little bit better suited to this one, or is it still like a bit freaky, or what?
No, I think we're handling this lockdown better than the last one, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not as scary, but yeah, not as heavy as the last lockdown that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're more prepared, and we're used to being stuck at home now. So there's things in place.
Nice.
Yeah.
I hope now.
Yeah. Like we know how to go to the supermarket. We know like to wear your mask, and we know how to do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Sweet, but you guys are doing all right overall?
Yeah.
Yeah, sweet as.
Cool. Yeah, so we'll see how everything goes out. Thank you for coming on for this little bit. And before you go, today in the Cook Islands, it's our mum's birthday. So if you just want to do a little shout out to mum together or one by one, just go for it now.
Yeah. Happy 21st birthday, mum. Hope you're looking after yourself. And we'll definitely have a beer for you now later.
Yeah, sounds good. What'd you it?
Happy birthday, Mum. I called her up this morning and she was pretty hungover, so I hope you're great now.
All right, then. Well, some things never change. All right, then. I'll call you guys another time, eh?
Okay.
So,
right.
Right, take care.
See you guys later.
You.
Bye. And there you have it right there, ladies and gentlemen. That was my younger brother and younger sister, Poitiare and Ma'ara. Siblings, not by choice, I didn't choose to have two other siblings, but they're pretty good. I really enjoy them. Really good to chat to. They last lockdown we would call once a week, just make sure that we're doing fine. And most of it was just movie quotes and laughing and, just kind of laughing at our upbringing together. So, we're just making the most of the situation that we're in. So I guess everything I was talking about before was thinking about displaying the ideals of a common good. Until we are inconvenienced by ourselves, I think that's when we're starting to see, who actually is in it for everyone, who actually follows those rules of integrity, or who actually has the values of integrity when it comes to, you being inconvenienced. When it comes to that last slice of pie, and there's a bunch of people, are you going to be that person who holds out, takes the pie with you, or are you going to be that person who, makes sure everyone gets a little slice of it, or figuring out how to make a brand new pie so that everyone else can be part of it? I think there's a lot of the inconvenience, like in the name of freedom and all that sort of stuff. You're taking my freedoms, but other than that, besides when you are inconvenienced, every other time you're talking about you being this person who's for the greater good and all that sort of stuff. So I think we need to check, just recheck our values, recheck who you are as a person, and start to think like, how is it that you change, or how is it that you react when it comes to a situation where something inconveniences you? Because I have a really awesome circle of a bunch of people who could be in the worst positions possible, but still try to make sure that I'm okay. And we're at that stage now where we can reciprocate that good energy. And that's why, they are part of my circle. The people who are part of my circle are the bunch of people who, if I'm not doing too good, they'll pick up on it right away, and they'll know exactly, how to act accordingly. They'll know whether to back off or just provide a little bit of support or an ear. And even though it inconveniences them because maybe, I'm not giving them the support that they need at that time, they know that I will be there at another point. So I appreciate, everyone who's in my circle. It's a very, very small circle. I'm not a very sociable person, but, when I am out there, I'm out there. And they know that, and I love you all for being part of that. Now, just talking about, I guess it's hard to ignore where we are. But then just thinking about how this, this is a challenge. Like I said before, it isn't unfair, it isn't good, it isn't bad. It's just what it is. This is a really good time to, this is a challenge, and we can start to see that there are other things that can happen in this time. Yes, we are inconvenienced, but I think the first thing for me that I've noticed is that I can start getting rid of the stuff that I didn't really need to do. So now that we're working from home, there are a bunch of meetings that didn't need to happen, and they're not happening anymore, and we are surviving. A couple of my work strands, I've started to see that they were just gap fillers, and I'm going to, kind of negotiate my way around that. But, I think thinking about this, and this is another challenge that has been put in our way, if you are a religious person or if you are someone who has very strong faith, you'll see that this is, some sort of obstacle. And I think if you read Ryan Holiday's book, Obstacle is the Way, if you turn yourself... If you think a few episodes back when I talked about, setbacks, and this doesn't necessarily have to be a setback, there are ways around everything, and I think if we need these challenges sometimes. If things are coasting too easily, we need to see if we're actually adapted to some sort of thing. And that's where resilience comes through. And if you think about the word resilience, resilient is when something gets bent out of place, and it goes back to that. So we actually needed something to bend us out of place, and then this is us being able to recoup and being able to come back. I think with that resilience, though, a lot of it does come with who you are as an individual, the challenges that you've had growing up. So there are going to be a lot of people who are going to say, I had the hardest upbringing, I wouldn't wish that on other people, but it's all relative to who you are and what you have been doing. Because some people's upbringings, it's weird. It turns into this like competition to see who had the harshest upbringing. So obviously after seeking counsel and after getting so much help for thinking about my upbringing and thinking about, the social support that I had, and, there are some things that if I tell people, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, you had such a hard, that's so hard. But because I've been able to have such a positive mindset about it and just see that I wouldn't be the person I am without the upbringing that I did. It was neither good nor bad. It was just the way that it is, and how I'm dealing with it now. There have been some issues that have kind of come up, but I'm seeking counsel to deal with those sorts of things. So it's either I can let them eat me, and I can let them, take over me, and I can blame everything that happens to me on the different things that have happened to me in the past, or I can just deal with them, or I could, I feel like for you to communicate effectively with other people, I feel like for you to properly be able to help other people, we need to have dealt with the demons that we have, because it's very easy that you can project those feelings onto other people. And I think we're starting to see that a little bit now. Once we get these challenges put in our place, we can start to see, who hasn't quite dealt with a few things, because once this challenge comes in, they're the ones who start to blame a bunch of other people for how things are going and for their situation, rather than being able to just handle it, So, yeah, make sure that you're checking in on everyone. I think if we think about success now, we always talk about trying to be the best that we can be, and, trying to progress ourselves to get some sort of, certificate, get some sort of pay grade, get some sort of income. I think success right now would be to have some sort of self-improvement without losing the essence of your values. So I think that should be the key to success all the time. But at the moment, as things kind of go out of whack because you can't go to work anymore, you can't socialize like the way you used to, we need to make sure that we are improving ourselves in whatever way that is, without compromising any little part of ourselves. So not trying to work all the time because that you're at home, you're in a pandy, and you've got children running around, you've got more people in the household, you've got less space to do your work. You don't have the instant access to the other people that you would have had. So that's something to keep in mind. And I think if I think about my bodybuilding days and how I achieved, optimal physique, I guess, and aesthetics, I had no social life. I had no real fun. I was cold all the time, and I, had no libido. I couldn't remember the times that I had an erection. I'm sorry that you have to hear that, but, I sacrificed a lot of my overall well-being, and that's why it's something I'll never go back to. If we think about our essence as a human being, and we think about, what success is going to be coming out of this lockdown or actually going through this lockdown, I think the key of it is just to try to maintain as much as yourself, or trying to get better. If we get better, if we stay stagnant, if we even step back a little bit, remember, it's not unfair, it's not bad, it's not good. It's just what it is. And if you can, seek counsel, if you can find something within yourself or find a hobby that can help you maintain, that sort of part of you, I think we're going to be in a really, really good spot. So next week I want to talk about maybe effective communication, because as we've seen during this lockdown, a lot of breakdown is happening with people not trusting other people, and people just saying some people are stupid, why are you guys thinking that way? So being able to get on top of that, and I think that might be a really good way to think about you and how you're consuming media, because that's kind of all we can do right now is consume a lot of media. And in that media, a lot of it's quite divisive. So just get amongst, stay safe, do what it is that you need to do. If you want to call into next week's show, if we're still in lockdown here, please reach out to me and I'll happily take you on for a call. Other than that, please stay safe, and let me know if there's anything that I can do to help, or anything that you'd like my thoughts on. I'm sorry there wasn't much that I could give in this one, but I think it's more just a check-in to make sure that you're all doing well, you're all loving one another. And remember, it's not good, it's not bad, it's just the way it is. And if you can find something within yourself to try to see, what it is about the situation that makes you feel like it's good or bad, and then just, kind of turning your head so that you're not in that negative state. Because I don't know if you've ever been with someone, but if they hop in and they bring that negative energy, it brings everything else down as well. So that's not to be happy Larry all the time and not being like happy joy, but it's just, being a bit more, not optimistic, but just feeling like there is a solution in everything that you do. Because if you feel like everything's doom and gloom, you'll always see the doom and gloom of everything. Sorry, that was all over the place. What am I talking about? Absolutely nothing. I have no idea ever. But Jenny Mitchell will take us out. Stay Triller.
What nobody says, I ain't done with you yet, and I know you're no good for me. Oh, but wildfires burn so easily. Yes, I know you're no good for me. Oh, but wildfires burn so easily.
It is good to be here. Love you all. Stay real.